What's up everyone, David Seven Skies here, broadcasting from the Seven Skies Mansion. Today I'm going to do a very quick video and I'm going to show you how I made my new track, Blue Kind, out now on Musical Freedom. Let's jump into the project. Alright, so it all started with this bass that comes from the Behringer Model D that I have in this rack over here. It's a recreation of the Moog Model D, and this is possibly the most important element in the song, and this is how it sounds. And here you can see that there's quite a bit of processing going on, lots of EQ, some compressors, and then one of my favorite thing, the SSL channel strip. So that's the main bass, and now we have some serum to support the bass and kind of fattening it a little bit. And this is a preset that I made, and it sounds like this. Sort of gives a little bit more meat to the bass. And then there's this layer that is actually very important, and it's a couple layers stacked together. And this helps a lot, giving a bit of groove to the bass. While if I remove it, you'll hear that it loses a bit of the flow. It still bounces, but the groove is not as good and it's not as flowy as it is when the other bass keeps knocking. Moving on, we have just a classic housey kick. It's almost distorted, made by this. And then there's a top kick, just to help cutting through. Very important in this song is obviously the drums. It starts very minimal, just a hi-hat and a clap, and then it grows as the song progresses. And then as the song progresses even more, the drums just become fuller and fuller. But you notice here that in the project, the drum group is actually muted, and there's a drum distressor channel, which is a recorded stem basically of the drums that are run through my distressor compressor, the hardware. It's an amazing hardware and I use it all the time, especially for drums. It tightens up the whole drum group, but also makes it super in your face and really snappy. I love how the distressor sounds. So yes, in my song you always have the drums that are run through the distressor and then they're rendered to audio. One more thing when it comes to the drums that I think is really important in this song is this little snare here. A lot of people actually pointed it out, and a lot of people identify the song with this snare, which is really funny because it's just a snare, and it's this one. The snare is actually heavily shuffled while the rest of the song is not as shuffled, and I feel like that just worked out really well because you don't really expect that kind of shuffle. Another very important element is this little melody that comes from my JP08. It's an amazing synthesizer. I love this little hardware. I use it all the time, and this is the melody. And then I also used parts of it, made a little loop that keeps going in the breakdowns. Now in the breakdowns we have this little effect, and that comes from my kontakt library, Get Low. Now at the beginning of drop 2 and 3, we have this crazy synth, which is something I made specifically for the song, and this is how it sounds. And this is just a very simple sound, it's just a detuned sound, and then this macro over here makes the sound pitch and also create that ramp sound that you hear. Nothing too crazy. Then we have this video game melody. It's just a chord. Silent just plays the arpeggio, so instead of playing a chord, it plays every single note. So when you work on a song like this, where the bass line, it's basically the entire song, the key is to keep things interesting. So a good way to do that is throw some little bleeps and blobs sounds in there, like this little ARP sound. Have a little melody like the JP melody that I showed you. Also, you can play a lot with the filters. For example, put some high pass on the kick and on the bass, and then just make things coming in and out, which is the beauty of making songs like this. You can literally just go crazy with a lot of automation and a lot of crazy sound. And actually, I want to show you another couple crazy sounds which are made with a vocal. This is the sound. I ran the vocal through a big delay, and then I just changed the tempo a little bit. And when you change the tempo, you get all sort of fun pitch effects. And since we talk about the vocal is from Enlery, super talented guy. I love the vocal. I think it complements the song in an amazing way. So shout out to the man, Enlery. You did a fantastic job.
I've got the blue kind. I got to tell you something. This here is prime time. Can't even see what's coming.
There's a little bit of decapitator just to warm it up and make it a little bit distorted. So the vocal is pretty straightforward, but I did a couple of pretty fun things again with the delay. And the second breakdown was a little empty. So what I did was having this vocal going through a big delay and keeps repeating. That would have been a little bit boring. So I just did some crazy stuff to it. And last but not least, there's another get low that plays in the breakdown. It starts as sub drone and then it turns into sort of uplifter super saw kind of thing. And the same thing with this mono poly. Pretty hard sound for a house tune, but I felt like it sounded pretty good. And then, once again, most important part of the song before the drop, our little 808 snare. Alright guys, this was a quick overview of how I made my new track Blue Kind, which is out now on Musical Freedom. So go check it out. Let me know in the comments if you like the song. Let me know in the comments if you like this tutorial. If you have some question about how I produced it, feel free to comment down below and ask whatever and I'll try to reply. And once again, for a more in-depth tutorial, follow Seven Skies TV on YouTube, and there will be a longer video where I'll explain everything more in detail. For me, David, Seven Skies, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.